We'll see how this plays out. It's the FNC Heavyweight Championship strap that's on the line, defended by Ivan Vitasovic.
Our final fight, our main event of the evening. This one for the FNC Heavyweight World Title. This bout will be contested over five-minute rounds. Your referee in charge when the action gets underway, Mr. Alexander Zoric. Fighters to the center, please, for your final instructions.
Fighters know the rules. Listen to my command all the time. When I said stop, you stop. Touch gloves. Go to your corners.
Referee Zoric is going to be presiding over the next potential 5 rounds in prospect for the heavyweight crown here at FNC.
Stosic now the favorite. The odds back and forth this fight week. Heavier fighter is Stosic. Taller, rangier fighter is going to be Vitasovic.
Well, already Stosic is throwing big bombs and he's looking to connect. But look at this. Vitasovic says, bring it on. If you want to trade, I'll trade with you. And Vitasovic is one of those guys you need an absolute missile to stop this guy. He can just take so much. The clash he had with Andrajak was just incredibly grueling. He is tough. He can take a shot, he can throw, and Stosic needs to land quick and land early. He's got the height disadvantage here. When I said that, you know, Vitasovic wasn't big for a heavyweight, he's tall, he's lean. He doesn't have the musculature that Stosic possesses. But Stosic threw big, threw wild, didn't land.
Nice guard here from both fighters. It's going to be important to pay attention and also be prepared to go into the later rounds. I predict it doesn't last 10 minutes, but if I'm one of those two, I'm going to try to drag it out. Force some complacency. Try to get the better of the ego in there.
Well, they've settled down a bit now, and the pace probably favours Stosic a little bit better than it does Vitasovic, but Vitasovic controlling the centre of the ring and trying to dominate things, keep Stosic on the outside. And as I say, Vitasovic, the record clean. Mihai Andrajak, Geronimo Dos Santos, Ollie Thompson he beat by head kick. But this is becoming a little bit too tasty for Darko Stosic, as Vitasovic starting to take control early on. Stosic stalking the outside of the cage here. Just not able to get into this. Singular shots so far.
Both fighters are taking some punches here, Will, and both are beckoning the other on. And that's a very clear sign of, you hit me.
Well, that's the name of the game, and I'm sure that's an invitation that both of these guys are ready to take up. Stosic just looks a little bit stilted here, and he tends to do that. Just tends to turn off the aggression, just turns off the offensive. We see the odd counter, but he needs to land, and he needs to land big in order to put Vitasovic away. Vitasovic, as I said, has got the wins against Ollie Thompson, Jussi Halonen, won by ground and pound. So Victor Pesta, rear naked choke, he lost. So Vitasovic got a little bit of a checkered past there. But let's see what happens tonight. It's interesting that Stosic starts to relax just a little bit too much and take his eye off the ball, but the left eye of Stosic starting to look a little bit worse for wear.
It's the upstairs downstairs looks from Vitasovic that I'm liking, and I want to see more of that to the tune of hitting and not getting hit. On the flip side, Stosic, I'd like to see some kicks. He's got a really wicked kicking game. We just don't see enough of it. I don't think Vitasovic is going to be super keen, at least it seems so far, keen to try and take him down.
Well, they've both been up against reasonably similar opponents. Mihai Kita, Mihai Andrajak, Stefan Wojciak for Stosic, Mateusz Scheffel, Miran Fabian, all KO'd by Stosic. So let's see if he can get into the groove here tonight and see if he's got a way of dealing with the champion. The champion looks strong at the moment. Quick reflexes. That right hand of Stosic, is there a problem there, Chris?
Tough to say, but it's been a very steady fight so far from VITASOVIC. Very steady output, very even output.
No, the right hand of Stosic, he keeps ringing it out. Maybe there's an old nagging injury there, but VITASOVIC looks good, looks strong, trying to keep Stosic stationary and trying to stop him from moving. Stosic on the march, moves to the right, trying to bring that right hand into play, but he's being picked off. The sniping of VITASOVIC having a good effect. Right about the kicking, the kick comes in slightly off target, and at the end of the first, it's not where I thought it would be.
Agreed, very measured fighting, and maybe because Stosic does have an injury on the hand. On the flip side, VITASOVIC really taking control, finding the extension and stepping into his jab, picking his punches, boxing with IQ. Good round, I think, probably in favor of VITASOVIC.
We'll see what the replay shows us, and in those exchanges the punches were thrown blind. Knee strike from VITASOVIC, and Stosic on the receiving end of a lot of the action there, had his moments, but VITASOVIC is tough. He can soak that kind of stuff up, well, for a good decent amount of time, not forever, but you know, he needs to get on it.
You could see him actually dip his head and use the crown of his head to defend and deflect that punch. Maybe that was possibly something that caused Stosic some harm.
2 of a scheduled 5 in this championship matchup. The heavyweight title strap on offer here. It's been defended by VITASOVIC for 3 times. But tonight, Stosic needs a win, needs a strap.
Stosic doing a really nice job of getting back in the headlights. There's the kick. I have a feeling his corner would have said finish with kicks.
So interesting that he's an experienced judoka, Stosic, yet we very rarely see him shoot and go to the ground. Loves to stand, loves to trade, loves to throw the big punches. But VITASOVIC is picking him off, and you know, you need to have a care because VITASOVIC has got power. Oh, that was a slip, it was a mistake. He's back up, VITASOVIC, and maybe Stosic a little bit slow off the mark there to capitalize on it.
Agreed, there was definitely a golden opportunity there. The right cross did land, VITASOVIC slipped, but Stosic didn't follow through.
Back in the upright, it's the champ that's taking control here and forcing Stosic to respond. Stosic needs to get on the inside in the pocket and cause some damage, and he's looking for one-shot wonders here. It's not going to work because all the time VITASOVIC is scoring. I think VITASOVIC probably took the first round, and I think he's on his way to taking the second one in terms of strikes. It's just not all about one punch for Stosic. Yet if he does deliver that, it is a showstopper, and in this case a VITASOVIC stopper.
No doubt about it. And VITASOVIC has just got to chunk all these exchanges. Deal with one, get out. Deal with one, get a couple of punches off, get out clean.
It's a good night in the office so far for the champ, I have to say. Very focused, he's on target and he's doing good work. Gum shield being replaced. VITASOVIC steps back. Good championship work at level. And I don't know how many times Stosic can miss with that overhand right. You know, it starts to take it out of you when you throw and miss at this level. And Stosic misses again. And I mean, you know, that's his stock in trade. But he's missing because VITASOVIC has done his homework and he knows when it's coming. And he's closing up in the corner, covering up Stosic. But he needs to get that right hand on target. And the only way to do that is to come in behind the left. And I don't think he's putting in the groundwork here, Stosic.
For sure. It starts to become inefficient, especially at a heavier weight class when you're kind of leaning into punches and whiffing. At times I've liked the fact that he kind of leans into it and then goes overhand right and leans into it and then goes right to the body. So he is changing up what he's doing with similar movements. But VITASOVIC seems mostly wise to it at this juncture.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no surprise in store for Stosic. Comes forward, but Vitasovic just slips out of the way and keeps moving. Mobility is the key for Stosic, and he just doesn't seem to have it. He can't follow up because he can't get forward on the offensive quick enough, and he can't get out of trouble quick enough when he's on the defensive. So it's a mobility issue. He just saunters around and strolls, and that's just not enough at championship level.
Not in this kind of fight, because Vitasovic is matching that and edging that. But Stosic is still landing some punches here. You know, he's definitely still very dangerous.
Yeah, when he's in the pocket, it all works. But if somebody just works him at distance and range, well, that's where the problem lies. And this is what's happening with Vitasovic. He's working that left jab, keeping Stosic at range. Look, the left. We've seen 5 lefts, and then the right. You know, Stosic is throwing the right.
It's exactly that. Several compared to one, and the output's going to be an important thing. I'm very surprised that we've seen such a measured and disciplined pace from both fighters, really.
For Stosic, he needs almost a Tyson-esque approach here. He's got to fly in behind a shot and then land. There's obviously something very sacrificial about giving the weight and height away, but Stosic is starting to get discombobulated by the champion. There's a problem with the right ear, and he's offset, off put, not comfortable here, and he's being taken apart by the champion.
Nice right straight there though from Stosic, but again, Vitasovic is reading most of this. His eyes are open in the pocket, his reactions are on point.
Yeah, it's a nice shot. It's one shot to every 10 of Vitasovic's, and unless it's a showstopper, then it's not going to work. And it's creatively constipated, Stosic. You know, there's nothing that's flowing naturally in terms of his creativity. You can see the frustration. They're going to clean him up. He's just got to close the distance and be able to do that, and that's the strategy he's got to work on. There's no doubt about it. Hitting a heavy bag in the gym, Stosic is scary, but a moving target.
Yep, different ball game. There we go, though. There was the potential. There was the nice little sort of opportunity that Stosic didn't quite capitalize on. But this was really, for me, the story of the round, just the volumetric boxing coming in from Vitasovic. There was a good flurry from Stosic there at the end of the round.
Yeah, but for every 4 shots thrown, 2-3 of them are not on target. Let's see how this plays out. This has gone to 3. I have to say my prediction was it wasn't going to go outside of 3, but maybe.
And my prediction is officially wrong, Will.
Yeah. Let's see. You need an incredible injection of creativity for Darko Stosic here tonight. He needs to get busy, on his toes, and get to work. Meanwhile, I have to say the champion doing everything right, keeping out of danger, keeping out of the way of any trouble, always on the move, and using that left hand, and he's using it to perfection. That's what you need. And Stosic moves in, but it's almost as like he's going through the motions, you know. That right hand, still a danger. Well, I'm still in prediction territory. I think Stosic needs a rabbit out of a hat, but he's come forward now, more aggressive, and he's found a way to cut the distance.
It's intriguing as well because there's been so much consistency, I think, from Vitasovic, and also not showing Darko any respect. You know, he's not backing off. He's in the pocket with confidence. We saw Darko against Scheffel and Martinic and Boychuk kind of exploit them being in space and stationary, a stationary target like you alluded to, and Vitasovic just hasn't given him that opportunity.
It's turning out to be a bit of a Rocky Horror show for Darko Stosic. He's just not found a way of dealing with what are not particularly quick hands from Vitasovic, but it's working so well for him. I mean, it's classic boxing. We've seen no shoot for a takedown. We've seen no high kicks. It's all been about boxing. And that's the second time Stosic has lost the gum shield. He's blowing now, and he's in danger territory. You know, he's done a fantastic job when he's been in the ring against Phil de Vries, but then he runs out of steam. Obviously, the early KO that caused him a problem was the early problem. But Tonight, needs a little bit of joined up fighting.
And VITASOVIC just needs more of this. It's going to work every time. We've now got almost 12 minutes of round time, where the proof is quite clearly every time VITASOVIC, like you said, 2 to 3, maybe 5 to 6 at most in these combinations, and it's either unanswered or minimally answered by STOSIC.
I mean, it's rudimentary work, isn't it? Left, right, it's just that left hand is doing all the work for VITASOVIC, and STOSIC just hasn't woken up to that. You can't just rely on one big shot. And he's hurt now, and he's troubled STOSIC, and that's kind of psychologically what's not good for him. You know, he doesn't like to be in this position where he's on the receiving end. He can't work out and put the numbers together, and he needs to. And VITASOVIC is not letting him off the hook. Look at him close that cage down. I mean, STOSIC is fighting in a matchbox here. He's just in 3 feet of space all the time and receiving shots like this. STOSIC is in danger of being in big trouble.
Agreed. That's been one of the most important things as VITASOVIC has started to take over in this fight. He's cutting the ring effectively, and that's clearly a strategy that was part of the game plan to unfold into 2 and to 3. So very smart fighting and joined up fighting, as you love to say, Will, from Ivan VITASOVIC.
Yeah, you know, he's worked it out and stuck to the plan, and STOSIC has just relied on landing a big right hand, and you can't do that at this championship level. We've seen him rock opponents, but VITASOVIC has watched the tape, and that's what makes it smart. You know, VITASOVIC has not left himself open to that big right hand, and he's now slowly punishing Darko STOSIC at distance and range. And STOSIC just hasn't got the answer. And even as a judoka, I would imagine that he'd try in desperation for a shoot to take it to the ground. But he's just not interested in it.
Again, VITASOVIC very aware of the Hail Mary coming, and the jab has been so important for Ivan VITASOVIC, doubling up, tripling up at times, leading most of the time now with the jab. It's working really wonders for him.
Well, you go speak to any boxer at any championship level, and the coach will be saying, jab, jab, use your jab. And that's exactly what VITASOVIC has done here tonight. He knows he's up against a boxer, and he knows he's up against someone with heavy hands, and he's used that jab to parry, to foil. Great feint work here, dodging all the shots. I mean, STOSIC monosyllabic in terms of what he's producing and pumping out here.
And you have to ask the question, at what point does he start to become a little bit more desperate, start to lay a little bit more on the table, go a little bit more all in?
I think this is troubling times for Darko STOSIC. He's having to walk away. He's having to stand there and take shots in order to stay in the pocket. And VITASOVIC is messing with him. Great round for the champ. I've got him at 2-1. When you shake your head when you go into the corner, psychologically, that's just a dreadful sign. You know, why? Why are you shaking your head? What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to your corner? You're saying this is just not happening for me. And once you say that, that's the crack that the light shines through, the light that spells you're going to not get the result you want here.
And as questions are being asked, questions must be answered. It's at this point in the fight where we've just seen a repetition of history over and over. VITASOVIC, here he is, just tuning him up with that jab too. Great connections again from Ivan VITASOVIC, and there, the surge of confidence at the end.
Yeah, the finger waving like it's not your night tonight, Darko. And, you know, for Darko, it's got to be. So he needs to dig deep, needs to get out into the tool shed, bring out some power tools here. If he's going to take shots on the way in, he might as well take them, but he's got to land his own. He needs to dig deep from somewhere and come up with an answer here.
The territory we both thought we would never see, the championship rounds.
Yep, it's gone to 4. And the crowd are giving it up. There's no two ways about it. They're leaving it out there. And he's a much favoured champion, VITASOVIC, here at FNC. But STOSIC needs a strategy, and he needs it quick. Great work, great hands from VITASOVIC. It really is. It's almost becoming a masterclass here now. And look at this. He's working Stosic over. Oh, but that's the right hand that he's in danger. But look, it's one shot. Stosic throws it and stands back as if to say, yeah, that's what I've got. Meanwhile, VITASOVIc is peppering him.
The stat that really gets me is we saw 67 strikes from VITASOVIc, 67 of which were punches last round. 10 of 10 were punches for Stosic. It's all boxing well.
Yeah.
It's a glorified boxing fight, and VITASOVIc is wiping the floor.
Yeah. Stosic just cannot work the combinations on the inside. It's a one-shot strategy that, yeah, could work under different circumstances. And VITASOVIc doesn't let off. VITASOVIc doesn't put the brake on. As soon as he makes space, he comes back again behind that left. I mean, it's boxing. It's great boxing as well. And Stosic covers up, and then VITASOVIc uses that, grabs the look at that, grabs the hands, grabs the arms, just to open him up to pop a shot in. It's great work, great boxing. And it doesn't have to be powerful. You're never going to stop Stosic. You just have to pepper him, make him feel uncomfortable, go the 5 rounds and take the win.
Especially at this stage when you have so many data points of what's working. But again, we just don't know. Is Stosic hurt? Could something have been lingering coming into this fight? There's definitely some potential there for the flat-footed performance that we've seen.
Yeah, and it's whether there is or not, he doesn't look great here tonight, does he? He doesn't look comfortable. He looks gassed. He doesn't look sharp. And, you know, he's slow, he's lumping, and he's just walking into this barrage of shots. And VITASOVIc, almost like a sparring match for him, you know. Yet we know Stosic is so much more equipped at this level. But I think there's something wrong. I think that he's off-footed tonight, Stosic. I don't think it's the Stosic that we know. He's just being peppered with shots from VITASOVIc, and it's a masterclass of boxing.
I'm loving the outside slip from VITASOVIc. Quite often he really slips very wide to his left, which completely disallows the overhand right from Stosic.
VITASOVIc, he always looks as if he's been in a war, no matter how well he's done. You know, just look at him. And it's now just open season as far as shots against Stosic. He's kind of so stilted now. He's run out of ideas. I don't know what you've got to do at this stage if you're Darko Stosic. And that now is a sure sign that he's breathing heavily. The gum shield out, back in. And this is just becoming a little difficult to work out and to watch what Stosic is going to do here in a championship bout. It ain't over till it's over, but I kind of think that there's a lady somewhere clearing her throat.
And Stosic nicely looking for the left hook there, something a little bit different to finish the combinations or even add something to the combinations. Especially as VITASOVIc is really slipping off and moving off his waistline so wide. It's such an exaggerated movement because he knows most of the time, almost all the time, it's been an overhand right he has to avoid, just like that. There, the left hook though, that was close. Closer, shall I say. And VITASOVIc here just really feeling so much more comfortable, I think, as the rounds have gone on. Really from the end of the second into the third, that was really the transition point for me, Will, where he started to run away with this fight.
And run away is the operative word. He's just stuck to the very simple rule book. Left, left, right. No attempt at a takedown. Stands off. And now he's just making Stosic look lumpen. Well, when you come to fight a champion, you've got to beat the champion. And unless Stosic pulls a rabbit out of a hat and absolutely decks him, catches him square on, this has been a masterclass from Vitasovic, and I've got to say, for me, Vitasovic has even improved since his last outing. Hey, listen, nobody said it was going to be easy. Fifth and final round. We never thought it would get into this deep water, but you know, it just goes to show you the level that Arik Josek is working at, because Arik Josek put Vitasovic away. Stosic has landed shots. Look, Vitasovic is bruised mercilessly, but on points, on shots fired, on shots landed, Vitasovic by a country mile. So, Darko Stosic, another title shot, another attempt to put silverware on the mantelpiece. This is the last round, and this is the last opportunity he's got. And Vitasovic knows he's not going to put Stosic away, so he just keeps him busy thinking. Fifth and final round here. Darko Stosic in his championship bid against the defending title holder, Ivan Vitasovic. Vitasovic has defended 3 times. This is the 4th defense. Stosic has gone the distance now. Can he finish this?
It was nearly 7-1 on the margins in the last round. In the third round, 10-1 nearly in the 4th. And it's all punches as far as what was thrown and what was landed. Incredible. Vitasovic, I think, just needs more of the same. And no risks.
Almost a sitting target, Stosic. Covers up, stands still. And Vitasovic goes for a takedown. That's brave, isn't it? Doesn't do it. It's going to be defended. That's one thing that Stosic can do. But just look at the frustration. He just hasn't got an answer here. And I mean, it's almost frustrating to watch.
You can see Vitasovic nicely backing off there. You could see Stosic was teeing up a heavy swing at bat, if you will. And I'm also okay with this. You know, at this point, like you said, well, it has been a 4-round, now nearly 5-round masterclass from Vitasovic. So time up, slow him down, run the clock. You're up in the fight. You're way up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. This is where you start to slow things down now, not expose yourself, run the clock down, and it's smart. There's no two ways about it. And Stosic has just kind of been sucker punched into all of this. Opened strong, didn't get the result he wanted from the big shots. I mean, that big right hand connected. The amount of power Stosic has got, that should have rocked Vitasovic and allowed the opening that's so vital for Stosic to get on the inside. It's 2.5 minutes left.
It's just a game of literally run that 2.5 minutes and just keep possession. Keep possession. Run the shot clock. Do anything you can. And it's a championship fight. You know, there's a lot at stake here.
Well, you can hear the desperation from the corners. And Vitasovic looking for a takedown. And I think that's maybe part of a strategy. And ringside, there's a little bit of liveliness, frustration from the corners, but let's not detract from what's going on inside. Desperate for a takedown here, but is it? It's not. It's just slowing things down, working off the wire. You know Stosic is not a threat now, and so Vitasovic grinding away, and Stosic can't even move that left foot to stop the stomp.
It's a nice job there in 50-50 for Stosic to hike Vitasovic's grips up a little bit and eliminate the opportunity of actually compromising bottom position. But at the end of the day, like you said, Vitasovic can just kind of cruise here. The finish line in sight.
Vitasovic just using that stomp to make life uncomfortable for Stosic. And again starts to work on the other foot and just locks his man down And Stosic just hasn't got the key to the locks here. And he throws his man to the ground as if to say, there you go. But at this point in the fight, he needs something much, much more.
It was a nice shuck there off the fence, but again, you know, there are some micro battles where Stosic has been competitive, but the macro, if you will, the real grand strategy of the fight, VITASOVIC has just had his way all the time.
Absolutely, and I mean, he's been in the driving seat the whole way through. Stosic now, by numbers, just has got to see the end of this out. Well, lands a big shot there, but we're 9 seconds on the clock. It looks like VITASOVIC is going to cruise this. He backpedals, and too much, too little, too late from Darko Stosic. That's the buzzer. Stosic knows it, and VITASOVIC, what a smart hand. What a smart play in terms of strategy and performance. I mean, you know, he turned up.
All in a night's work. It was a blue-collar performance, a very similar performance to what we saw against Philippe Stivove, for example. Just competent boxing, the right decision-making, keeping things very safe, and foiling any of the big attempts from the hammer. You know, he avoided the worst of all that, so I'm sure they'll be happy with that performance, and they're going to go back and improve on it.
Absolutely, and he looks a complete spent force there, but you know, you're up against a dangerous opponent with Darko Stosic, and tonight he just missed it. Wasn't his night. So as you've seen in the face-off, the next FNC is the 29th of November. We'll see you there. Action and thrills all the way. What a night we've had tonight, Chris.
A heck of a night. I'm looking forward to Kita and Batinic. A lot more to come, I'm sure. FNC always delivering. What an evening, Will.
Yeah, we've had some first-round stoppages. Absolutely electrifying. Tonight, that was your ticket money right there, the main event. What a battle, what a war for that heavyweight title. VITASOVIC not letting it go in a hurry. Here's the result.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of those 5 completed rounds of action, we go to your judges' scorecards, where we have a unanimous decision. All 3 judges scoring this bout 50 points to 45 in favor of your winner. And still, the FNC heavyweight champion, it's Ivan VITASOVIC!
Pojas FNC prvaku dao je najbolji teškaš ikada u UFC-u, heavyweight gold Stipe Miocic!